So not even 2 days ago, I made a video about teams to look out for at this year's trade deadline, and I brought up the Sacramento Kings. But in that video, I said that any potential De'Aaron Fox deal would probably have to wait until this summer. But then today I wake up to news that De'Aaron Fox might be requesting a trade, and him and his agent, which is Rich Paul, are meeting with the Kings front office talking about the future. I'm not saying that sounds like a flat out trade demand, but that doesn't sound like, that sounds thought out, right? You don't go to the team with your agent if you don't have something in mind. Now you can look at it from the other side, right? He's not signing long term, so maybe that's what they're meeting about. Why should I sign long term with this team? But if that's the case, the Kings don't have a lot of answers to why De'Aaron Fox should want to be there in the prime of his career. And I'm a little bit conflicted on the De'Aaron Fox side because yes, this team is not good enough, right? De'Aaron Fox is probably one of the only guys in the NBA that is really hampered by the small market thing. Like if De'Aaron Fox was in somewhere like Chicago, I feel like he'd be damn near a superstar. So he's one of the few players that I've seen that apply to in the modern NBA, because really pretty much LeBron going to Cleveland and Russ and KD and James Harden and OKC pretty much broke that narrative that you need to be in a big market to be a superstar. But it does help, and it also does help to win playoff games. So if De'Aaron Fox is going into the Kings front office with his agent, doesn't that sound like he has somewhere in mind that he wants to be? So this is where we get reckless and speculate on things we know nothing about. But I really don't feel like you get to this point without having a target destination in mind. And also we have to think about Sabonis, right? Because Sabonis he might have more suitors, not because he's a better player, but because a lot of teams have their star point guard. But sticking with De'Aaron Fox, what would this potential bidding war look like? How are teams viewing him? Is there a team out there viewing him as their 1A? And on that front, two teams come to mind immediately. One is the Brooklyn Nets, which if I'm De'Aaron Fox, New York, intriguing, but I'm trying to win right now, so no. The other team is the Houston Rockets, a team that we've heard rumored on every star player the last year, from Kevin Durant to Devin Booker to Jimmy Butler. There were some Dame rumors at one point. Like, we've been hearing the Rockets for everybody, and this would be the one that actually makes the most sense. You got Fred VanVleet on a one-year deal, well, a team option on next year around what, $45 million, something like that. And if the Rockets really want to make it happen, they have a bunch of picks, they have Fred to make the money work, and they have a bunch of young guys that you might feel comfortable moving on from one of them. And in this scenario where you're getting your starting point guard theoretically for the next 5 to 7 years, maybe you feel more willing to let go of someone like Reed Sheppard. Again, they're not giving up Amen Thompson, they're not giving up Tari Eason. Maybe you can get Reed Sheppard and Cam Whitmore and 4 first-round picks, but can someone outbid that? But also going back to the point of him going to the team with his agent, this feels more like a relationship where, you know what, we'll get you where you want to go. Maybe not exactly where you want to go, not if that team is lowballing us, but it doesn't seem like this would be a team to trade De'Aaron Fox to somewhere he didn't want to go. And as much as I like the idea of Houston, as much as I believe that would be a great fit, I'm not sure players are looking at Houston like that. So let me speculate, let me put on my tinfoil hat for a second. He initially made the comments about why he didn't take his extension, why he didn't sign his extension on the Draymond Green podcast. And you know, he has this relationship with Steph Curry. He signed to Curry Brand. He's the only player to do it. And what's that guy's name that signed with the Lakers? You guys know what I'm talking about. I can't think of his name right now, but he's a Curry Brand player, and he could be the face of the Warriors after Steph Curry retires. Like, I don't know if that's something that's a possibility. We know the Warriors are desperate right now for a star player, and they don't want to trade for a star player that is very old because they're kind of worried about the future. De'Aaron Fox might actually be that guy. And you would say the Warriors don't really need another point guard, but they keep doing it. They got Chris Paul, now they got Dennis Schroeder. Maybe just get De'Aaron Fox, go all in and let De'Aaron Fox be more of a defender, guard bigger players. Maybe he can still do that. I'm not saying that's the most ideal fit, but you could see why that might be a possibility given where the Warriors are right now, given his relationship with Steph Curry, and maybe his desire to be more of a star in the NBA. I don't know if that's a real thing. I think he wants to win, but also going to Golden State, he would become a star. And I'm a little bit confused because when the Warriors traded for Schroeder, the reporting was that the Warriors could also still flip his salary in a potential bigger deal. But when I try to make a deal on Fanspo, it says he can't be traded until the 13th of February, and the deadline is the 6th of February. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know who's wrong in that. But if that is the case and he can't be moved, that makes it a lot more difficult to make a Warriors deal without giving up Wiggins, right? I was trying to make it work without giving up Wiggins, but if you can't put that $13 million in a deal, I'm not sure how you do it without giving up Wiggins. So maybe that's a false premise, or maybe you do give up Wiggins. I'd give up Wiggins in a De'Aaron Fox deal, but obviously you tried not to. But I'm gonna try to figure that out, the whole Dennis Schroeder thing, whether he can be packaged in another deal. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. I feel like another team we'll hear a ton about is the San Antonio Spurs, but from everything we've heard, it doesn't seem like they are in a rush to speed up that process. They were not interested in Trae Young. They didn't want DeJounte Murray. And I know we're talking about different players, but it doesn't seem like they would be willing to outbid a team for De'Aaron Fox. Now, if De'Aaron Fox was available and they could put in a comfortable offer and he goes there, if that's where he wanted to go, then possibly I could see it happening. You know, the Spurs give a decent offer. Kings, out of respect for De'Aaron, you can go to the Spurs, but I don't see the Spurs outbidding a Warriors or outbidding a Rockets team. I don't see the Spurs giving up 3 or 4 first-round picks. But then in the report I seen this morning, we also had like bad teams that would want De'Aaron Fox, like the Raptors. Okay, that brings me more to my point of this summer, because De'Aaron Fox, why would I go to the Raptors right now? If we have some chance of being a decent team in Sacramento, why would I go to the Raptors right now when I could play the season out and potentially go there this summer? The Portland Trailblazers, I feel like, have a pretty decent foundation of very good role players, and De'Aaron Fox could really slot in there perfectly, but why would I do that now if I'm Fox? Like, we can wait till this summer. So I still feel like most likely outcome is he plays out this year and gets moved this summer. But you know, if we're talking about a deal, we have to do the obligatory Lakers talk. And this would really just come down to, again, does De'Aaron Fox want to go to the Lakers? Because the Lakers would not have the best offer. They have 3 first-round picks they can offer. They have no real young star player. I don't think the Kings would be that intrigued by a 26-year-old Austin Reeves. So it really comes down to Max Christie, D'Lo, and Gabe Vincent for salary, and 3 first-round picks. That might be enough if De'Aaron Fox wants to go there. But I don't know why. I just don't think De'Aaron Fox wants to go play alongside LeBron. That sounds crazy, but I don't think he wants to be in that role. Maybe he wants to be there post LeBron, which would be fine, kind of like what I said about Curry, but clearly he has that connection with Curry. But to break it down, in my opinion, if he were to be moved this season, I think Rockets are number 1 as far as likely. I think Warriors are number 2, and I think Lakers are number 3, and then probably the Spurs number 4, and then there's probably some mystery team I'm not even thinking about. I was really trying to get him to Minnesota, but Minnesota has no picks, and the Warriors one is the most intriguing one to me, probably because I'm a big Steph Curry fan, and I wonder what that would look like. But if you can get, you know, it really depends on how you view these players, how these teams view these players, but if you believe in Podziemski and Kuminga, you can get both of them and 3 first-round picks. Depending on who you are and how you value those players, there might not be a better deal than that. But if you don't like Kuminga, if you think he's just going to be a shot chucker, doesn't play defense, doesn't move the ball right, whatever you might think about him, then obviously not. If you think Pods is always going to be a role player and won't ever really be a good enough shooter to get his shot off, then probably not. But if you believe those guys are going to develop into borderline all-stars or perennial all-stars, in the case of Kuminga maybe, then that's a pretty damn good deal. But we don't know how these teams are actually thinking. But I bring up the Warriors and the Lakers because those are the teams that are desperate. The Rockets shouldn't be desperate at all. They're in a great situation. Haven't even really seen Reed Shepherd yet. The Spurs have Wemby. No reason for them to be in a rush. And the only other desperate teams would be like bad teams that De'Aaron Fox would not want to be going to right now. So again, Rockets, Warriors, Lakers, Spurs, I think those are the main teams. Out east, I don't really see anybody besides the Raptors. But knowing the NBA, it might be some random mystery team, or he's going to play out the whole year, which I believe is the most likely outcome. Plays out the whole year, and then much more teams can be involved this summer. But let me know in the comments down below what you think about De'Aaron Fox as a player. If you were a team like the Nets or the Rockets, I know those are two completely different teams and two completely different situations, but pretty much what I'm saying is, do you feel good about De'Aaron Fox maybe being your 1A player? Do you think he's a second option? Do you believe there's a world where he's your third best player? On the Lakers, he'd probably be their third best player. Or am I giving Bron too much credit there? Let me know in the comments down below, and I believe by the time this video goes up, I will be at 6K subscribers, so thank you guys so much for that. Now on the road to 7K, so please like, comment, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm out. Peace.